Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me for our Lunch and Learn series. We're talking about building and growing your private practice. Now, those of you who have followed me for a while or been doing this work for a while, you know the challenge of what it looks like to be a provider and to try to grow your practice and do things um, that can be challenging. That can be really, really, really challenging. So for me, it's really important that there's some degree of support in this work, that we all find a way to offer support. And that's part of what I'm doing here. So my name is Amira Martin. I've been in the field since about 2001. So that is 24 years of doing therapy, of working with people, of working in this field. And I've also started um, a few private practices and have been able to be really successful in it and really, really enjoy it. I still have a large, thriving practice. So today, what I want to talk about is one of the challenges that I received via email from someone. I put a call out asking, what are your biggest challenges in your private practice, either currently or, and just thinking about growing your private practice, right? So, one of the things that I was surprised by was how much paperwork was actually an issue, right? So, in this 10 minutes, you're going to walk away with a clear idea of what paperwork is actually required, my recommendations for EHR systems or electronic health records, and a few shortcuts so paperwork does not overtake your evenings, your weekends, your life. Okay. So, one of the common questions is, what paperwork do I actually need to start a private practice? Well, at very minimum, you need an intake form, you need a consent for treatment form, a HIPAA notice, and a progress note template. And yes, you can print those off from online. You can, borrow someone's who's already in practice. And if you're taking insurance, you need a treatment plan template and a release of information form. You do not have to reinvent the wheel. You can use someone else's if you don't want to pay. Um, or you can invest in a site like Theranest, Therapy Notes, or Simple Practice and sign up for their EHR systems. I've used Therapy Notes for years. It was really useful for me. I don't currently use it, but that was my choice when I did use an EHR system in that way. Now I use a different EHR system. How do you keep your notes simple but compliant, right? Because compliance is a really key issue. So you want to use a SOAP or a DAP format, right? I'm not sure how many of you exactly know what a SOAP or a DAP format is. So I will explain that very briefly, right? So a SOAP format is pretty much a standard format that we use in our field. SOAP standing for subjective is what you see and hear from the client, what they're stating to you. Objective is your objective view of clinically what's happening with the client. Um, let me try. I don't know why I'm having trouble remembering the A right now. I'm a little nervous, so please forgive me and bear with me. Okay. The A is for assessment. So your clinical assessment, your analysis of the information they're sharing, and P for plan, course of action. Okay. So SOAP notes, you can literally just write that out on your form and you have a SOAP note. Okay. A DAP note is a clinical form as well that can also be, relatively easily done and used to make sure that you are in compliance in terms of providing quality care. So DAP stands for data. What's the factual, objective information gathered during the session? So you're thinking about the client's appearance, the reported symptoms, the interactions, and the therapist's interventions. A is for assessment. So your professional analysis as a therapist of the data that the client has shared with you. You're evaluating the client's progress toward treatment goals and their responses to interventions in that A assessment portion. And P, plan, right? We always need that plan. So next steps to be taken, specific homework assignments, interventions for the next session, any referrals you've done, why use these forms. SOAP and DAP are just highly efficient and will keep you, really in line in terms of providing quality care and notes that are going to pass an audit and show that you're doing the work that you need to be doing. You always want to be thinking about your treatment goals while you're, in session and writing those notes so that there's a tie, that golden thread that is always necessary for insurance companies and just for us, again, in doing high quality work. So what's the best way to track billing and insurance claims? Well, if you're not ready for a biller, use an EHR system that has integrated billing. Again, Therapy Notes has that. Therapy Notes also has insurance billing, note templates, and scheduling. Simple Practice is super user-friendly, especially for private pay and super bills. And you, again, also so that integrated billing is there, and Theranest is also there, and they have more affordable pricing sometimes. How do you avoid paperwork burnout? Well, the first one is giving yourself 15 minutes between sessions to do your notes right away, right? So not starting your next session until at least 15 minutes after the last one has ended. Use that 15 minutes to do that note, and yes, run to the bathroom and get coffee. Maybe within that hour, you're going to need to, within a couple of hours, you're going to need to use one time for your bathroom break and another time for your notes and all that. But getting it done immediately, not saving it till the end of the day, not saving it till the end of the week, right? And you want to batch things like invoices and treatment plan reviews, or treatment plan updates. Do those once a week. Set aside an hour or two even each week. The time is normally slow, you can just slide that in there. Or if your schedule is completely full, then you need to tack on that hour or two somewhere. Use templates. Do not start from scratch. Templates are always much easier and can really help you just to save your sanity, okay? And so I have a question that came in from Sumathi. Let me see if she is ready to join me. She has a question specifically about marketing, actually. So that's pretty cool. Let me see her question. So basically Sumathi shared that she is starting all over. She has moved from New York State to Washington and is, having some challenges around identifying her ideal client. So those of you who know me know how interested I am in marketing to and identifying your ideal client, right? So one of the things you first do is you think about who is your ideal client, okay? So your ideal client is, let's say for me, okay, Sumathi said she's here. Let me see if I can get my StreamYard going right. So let's see. I'm not getting this right, so you just bear with me. I will read her question. So in terms of like getting your ideal client, so the first thing you want to do when you want more business, you are identifying, listing who is your ideal client. Who is the exact client that you want to market to? What is their ethnic and racial background? What sorts of jobs might they have, or income might they have? They have to be able to afford your services. Are you providing sliding scale? Are you looking at higher paying clients? Are you thinking about lower income clients, where you're going to be on more insurance panels and thinking more about lower rates? Who is your ideal client? So racial, ethnic background, what is their earning based on what you're trying to charge? What is their challenge? Are they depressed? Are they anxious? Are they dealing with a life change? Are they a person who's had a breakup and is getting married, or wants to get back out into the market? Who is this ideal client, right? I want you to list for me everything that you possibly can about your ideal client. Once you have a sense of who your ideal client is, at that point, you're going to find ways to market to them. Okay. So you're going to advertise, first of all, you're going to intentionally advertise in the areas where that client lives. So, me as a Black woman living in New York State, when I advertise, I think about advertising to other women of color, right? And I also think about other groups that I might want to advertise to. You know, you can work with anyone outside of your ethnic group, racial group. You can work with anyone outside of your ability. You could work with anyone, you know, across any sort of identifying cultural, um, you know, presentation. For me, I prefer to work with Black and brown women and men, Black and brown LGBTQIA plus folk or queer folk, and also particularly women who are dealing with a multitude of challenges, just women in general. That's where my heart lies and where more of my passion lies. So I'm going to look for, where am I going to find these women, right? Well, I'm going to find these women. So if you're looking for a particular group, let's say you're looking for Black women, you're going to go ahead and you're going to look at the community that you're in. You're going to look up community information, the demographics for the areas that you can serve in, right? Are you doing virtual or are you in person? If you're in person, you're going to look at 50-mile radius from where your office is, the demographics, so the race and income of these different groups in the area in each community. If you're doing online, you're going to do the same thing, but obviously for the entire state. Okay, you're going to find where there are more of the Black and brown women who have the income, or will be able to afford your services, or you're accepting the insurances if it's a lower end income. And then you're going to intentionally put that in your Psychology Today. For your location, you're going to put the zip codes that you think would be most fitting, that has more of that group. You're going to set up multiple ads. You're going to ensure that your Psychology Today, every single opportunity to list where you're serving clients is there. So you can add additional areas, right? So you can add additional zip codes. So what are the zip codes are going to fit for that client base that you want to attract? Then after that, you're going to make sure that not only do you have all 3 of those in your Psychology Today, but you are also having multiple ads. You don't want to have one ad. If this is going to be your bread and butter, you want to have at least 3 ads and maybe 4. Okay. So Psychology Today, obviously, and thinking about some of the other ones. We can do a whole separate series on a whole separate broadcast on that. And then you also want to go and target those groups in person. So, you want to contact a local college or university. Hey, I have this, lovely workshop that I want to provide to, students who are dealing with XYZ issue, right? Or women who are dealing with XYZ issue who are students, or on depression. Or you want to do that at least 2-3 times a year, so that you're also putting yourself out there that way. You want to think about, literally just reaching out to workplaces, to educational institutions, to churches, where you know that this group lies because of that demographic search that you did based on zip code earlier. Okay. So you want to think about that and be doing each of those things, and that's how you're going to get more of the clients that you need. All right. So I will be on most Tuesdays for the next 6 weeks. A couple of Wednesdays in there because I had some scheduling issues, but I hope you will join me. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at Amira, Amira, Martin, Martin, LCSW@gmail.com, and I'll answer your questions live on air. We're looking at mainly Tuesdays at 12 for the next 6 weeks. Thank you so much. Take good care.